The Titan's communications officer says Captain Riker will be ready in just a moment. You need to see this. The report on the data breach.
Damn. It's worse than I'd hoped. They didn't just compromise our shields. They stole the shield algorithms for all of Starfleet as well. Meaning every ship is potentially vulnerable to attack, making this so much worse than it already was.
At the risk of stating the obvious, wouldn't changing the algorithms solve the problem?
Yeah, I wish it was that simple. Unfortunately, it's an encrypted code that would take weeks to change, if not longer.
I have Captain Riker for you.
Let's not mention any of this shield business to Riker just yet. Put him through. Captain Riker, this is my first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
My pleasure.
Sir.
I wish we were all meeting under better circumstances.
So do I, although you and I have actually met before.
We have.
I was a young lieutenant on the Potemkin. You were first officer on the Tuckerman. I piloted you and our science officer in a shuttle to survey quantum resonance in the planetary rings of Resurgence 6.
Ah, yes. Now I remember.
You know, he gave me some good advice that day about a very difficult job. Yours.
Well, I'm not one to turn down some words of wisdom, sir.
And let me ask, as first officer on a starship, where does your responsibility lie, first and foremost? To the captain, the crew, or the ship itself?
Oh, this old chestnut. I am curious to hear what she says, though.
My job is to support the captain, carry out his orders, and ensure his safety. Even if I disagree with him.
I like that. But the truth is, it's a trick question. Every situation is different, and there are no easy answers. And in some cases, it might not be any of those three. It could be the prime directive. Or the mission.
Yes, so perhaps we should get to the matter at hand. When you were with the Enterprise, you encountered a Takan entity known as Portal 6-3. The Enterprise was held captive in orbit until you were able to convince him to let the ship go.
All of which is detailed in the mission report.
What we want from you is what we can't get from the report. What can we use to get Portal 6-3 to help us?
I've often thought about that over the years. How a small difference in the encounter could have led to disaster. The most important thing is, don't let him push you around. He can appear as a man or as a godlike projection. He'll test you, but don't be overwhelmed by the pageantry and theatrics.
From the report, it seems he wields an incredible amount of power.
More than you can imagine. He's able to reach out and grab hold of starships like that, and let them go just as easily. Portal is full of bluster and bravado, but he can be reasoned with. And that's my other piece of advice. You want to appeal to him rationally. You don't want him thinking you're acting out of fear.
But we are afraid of the Takan, and with good reason.
He's not the sort to suffer fools. And he'll lose interest if he feels his time is being wasted.
I suppose that's one thing we have in common.
What other levers do we have with him? Is he susceptible to flattery?
Who isn't? And if you're good enough to play off his ego, even an entity as advanced as he is won't realize that's what you're doing.
What if he won't cooperate and we have to face these Takan ourselves?
Then we have a much bigger problem on our hands.
What I mean is, in the 16 years since you discovered this outpost, there has to have been research. Battle plans for what to do about the Takan if we encountered more of them. I need to know what they are.
If I had that answer, it would have been the first thing I told you.
We both know Command has had their share of hidden plans in the past. Like Admiral Hansen and Captain Shelby's Special Projects Division at Starfleet Tactical, devising new ways to take on the board.
Trust me, this isn't some Starfleet conspiracy to keep you in the dark. But if you two don't think you're equipped to make contact, you need to tell me now. Because there is no silver bullet here. Now's not the time to hesitate. I need to know you're up to this.
You're not the only one who's met the Takan anymore. We've faced them in combat. We're not just the right ones for the job. We're the only ones.
All right. Asked and answered. There was a special task force that considered the Takan. and I was part of it. But because there were no other signs of the Empire, we determined the best course of action was to create a restricted zone around the Delphi-Ardu system. I have my concerns, but I'll clear the way with the brass for your travel into the restricted space. Just remember what I've told you. And it wouldn't hurt to read some Sun Tzu en route. Or Marcus Aurelius.
Anything else?
I don't plan on failing, Captain Riker.
That's just the attitude you'll need to bring with you. Rest assured, the Federation is taking this threat very seriously. You won't be alone out there for too long.
Thank you, Captain Riker.
One more thing. Ambassador Spock said that Khan stole some data from your central computer. What's that all about?
We're still assessing the extent of the breach. Nothing to report as of right now.
That's it? Ambassador Spock suggested it was something more serious. Which is why I'm asking.
We have our best people sorting it out. It's under control.
Okay. If I may, I recommend you keep Starfleet Command looped in very closely on that matter. There's a lot riding on this. And if it comes to it, the Titan and I will be ready to personally lend a hand in this fight.
Let's hope it doesn't get that far.
Riker out.
Thank you for not getting too specific with Riker about the data breach. Better we handle this ourselves, without all of Starfleet hearing about it.
I trust you had a good reason for withholding this information from Captain Riker.
This information will send a shockwave through the entire fleet. I'm sure Spock will agree. It should be compartmentalized on a strictly need-to-know basis. I have more research to do. So do you. I'm sure the ship's computer has Sun Tzu in its library. Dismissed.
It's the automated Federation warning buoy. Transmitting the disable code Captain Riker provided.
That was unpleasant. Commander Ermont, what are the conditions of our systems?
All internal systems operational.
Commander Westbrook, what are your scans of the planet?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
No sign of this outrageously powerful Takan being?
I'm running a magneton scan now, but so far, nothing.
Where are you? Prep your way, team. We don't know if Portal 6-3 will cooperate. He's not an asset. He's an enemy. So be ready for anything.